Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on today's serving of your program, Let's Talk on Canal 24 Television. It's yet another Thursday. Today's Thursday, May 20th, 2021. And it is, of course, our National Day in Cameroon. We know that we've been a lot of harder celebrations, and for the past 2 years, like last year and this year, we've not been able to celebrate, all thanks to the presence of the COVID-19 pandemic amongst us, which of course has shaped the way we live our lives and the way we interact. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning on your live on Let's Talk on the program on air, it's your English language weekly program. I'm not alone in the house, but before I go to introduce my full house, we are here with a set of knowledgeable, intelligent, and fine men who will be praising us on the topic of the day. Of course, for today's program, we got two topics of discussion. Topic one will be the importance of the National Day. You know, every 20th May reminds us of a lot on the history of our country. What do you think? What has gone wrong? How far have we been able to manage the so desired national unity we've been preaching? That and more, we shall be talking with our guests in the house. Our topic 2 of the day is going to be on the management of COVID-19 funds in Cameroon. Like we all know, the scandal that is going about and the ministers that are of course, passing in front of some judges to see how they have been able to manage billions of francs Cfa that was intended for the management of COVID-19. I pray you stay put. Your contributions are also expected via WhatsApp, chat, and SMSs, or you can just follow us live on Facebook on Canal 24 TV, and you'll have us your reactions. And us here at the studio are what is going to make our country grow and be prosperous by the year 2035. Before I introduce my men, the next transition, they will come back to introduce the panel just thereafter. Stay put. Welcome back, beautiful people. If you are just joining us, you are live on Canal 24 Television, and the program on air, it's Let's Talk with me, your weekly anchor, Frida Egbesin. It's usually with great delight that we come to communion with you every Thursday on the topical issues that concerns us as individuals and, of course, as Cameroon, concerns Cameroon as a nation. Your contributions, our participation to nation building counts a lot. It's true that we have authorities, we have powers that be that are at the helm of decision making, but of course these officials are accountable to us. Let me go straight away to introduce my men in the house. I feel so comfortable. My closest neighbor to my right is no one else but my eloquent Roger Fonkwe. He's a communicator for the CPRN party. Roger, you're welcome.
Thank you, Frida, and good afternoon to our televiewers out there. Good afternoon to my co-panelists, and a special good afternoon to you, Frida. Happy National Day, and happy National Day to my co-panelists that you're going to present. And it's always an honor being on your program. You see, with the prestige of your program, each time I receive an invitation from you, I can't miss. Sorry for last week, but I told you I had an accident. But thank God I'm fine now, and I hope my contributions are going to be wonderful to our televiewers out there.
Thanks for coming. Of course, make yourself comfortable. And my closest neighbor to my left, ladies and gentlemen, is a young member joining the Let's Talk family. He is called Njoya. He is a student in the University of Yaoundé, one studying anthropology, but of course he is passionate about history. So he is here today to join us and complete the panel. Njoya, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Frida. I'm happy to be among you people. And I will first of all extend wish you happy National Unity Day, and I will extend my happiness to all Cameroonians. Happy National Unity Day to them, and it is my first time. It is my first time to be in the panel, but I hope my contribution will be something acceptable to to televiewers.
Of course, this show will. And ladies and gentlemen, my closest neighbor to my extreme right is Dr. Eric Jambon. He is a communicator for the CRM party. Doc, you are welcome.
Hello, Frida. It's always an honor to be invited here, and I want to say hi to the co-panelists and the televiewers. I know there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people all over the world viewing this show. So it's an honor to be invited. I want to thank the technical crew as well. I think we'll have some interesting stuff to share today.
Very interesting. Okay, guys, make yourself at home. Of course, you're at home, ladies and gentlemen. As usually, the tradition on Let's Talk, we kickstart our program with an icebreaker. Now I'll be teasing my men in the house, and of course you back at home, because you're free to contribute, be it on a teaser, be it on the topic of discussion, or maybe something that you would have loved to be discussed here. Doctor, I'll start with you. Like one African country just took upon the decision to legalize polyandry for women. That means allowing women to get more than one husband. You are a Cameroonian, we are in Cameroon. How would it feel like if our National Assembly or the Senate will approve such a law that Frida is free to get 2 or 3 men?
The way you're smiling, Frida, I think this is good for women. It's good for women. I think women want that. I think it's fine for them. I think I'm somebody who believes in the individual liberty and freedom.
Right.
And I believe that we have to defend human freedom whenever possible. Mm-hmm. And I see that legalizing polyandry in certain countries, to me, fall within the limit of freedom. If adults, consenting adults, decide to live in a union that involves many men and one woman by their own will, I think that they should be free to do that. To me, it's their, if they don't violate any human being or cause any prejudice to another individual, I think they should be free. I think women would like that. As long as there's polygamy and there's polyandry, we're moving towards equality.
Of course.
So I think that is a good idea. It's a good thing. Maybe it's not something that we'll spend energy doing debating, but the only maybe downside is it's hard to imagine how in a home you have 2 men and 1 woman. I think there might be a lot of, I don't think that kind of marriage structure can survive.
Right, Njoya, if Cameroon was to approve polyandry, how would you feel like as a man?
No, to me, first of all, I will not accept that. I will not credit that, because first of all, even us men that it has been accepted that we should be going in for polygamy, it is a lot of problem. It causes a lot of problem in such a way that if you are not someone that you are, I can say, you know how to manage human being, you cause a lot of problem outside. Because first of all, in Africa, we should live according to our culture.
All right. We
should not maybe copy culture of white countries and take it back to our countries. Because first of all, accepting polyandry to women, even nowadays, once you have your concubine, even 2 of them, it will be a problem. If it is already something a problem, how can we accept that a woman should marry?
It should be legalized.
No, I cannot credit such. Because it will be a problem.
All right, Mr. Fonkwe, do you go by Njoya or you go by Doctor?
Frida, I'm laughing because I'm seeing the way in some African countries our culture is gradually disappearing. Before I talk about polyandry, I just Doctor talk about he's someone who respects individual rights.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not one of those people who respect, because there are certain individual rights that are taboo to our culture, and as an African, I strongly believe that polyandry is not part of us. Yes, just like homosexuality is not part of us, because I am not for homosexuality. I can never stand for polyandry.
But you can stand for polygamy.
Yes, I can stand for polygamy. It is an African culture.
Man.
No, let me explain. You see, those who are trying to bring certain things that are not part of us, you see, it is a law in so many European countries and American countries that polygamy has been forbidden. That's if you get married to 2 women, you have violated the law. You have committed a crime. You understand? You see to what extent they can go, but they can still tell you that you can get married. A man can get married to another man. A woman can get married to another woman. Then a woman can get married. Does that even sound good to the ears of Africans? I saw it on social media. I saw how so many people, some especially the young girls, to an extent I agree with doctors when he said it might be there's something good for the young girls. I saw how they excited on Facebook, but that is not part of us, and I can never support it. And now, if you think polyandry is good, if they think polyandry is good for them in South Africa, the country we're talking about is South Africa, it's good for them. For us in Cameroon, it is not part of us, and I don't think if my national president, Cabradi, becomes the president of this country, we are going to think about such, because in our party we are against homosexuality, and polyandry is not one of those things we can because even the Bible, the Bible forbids that. We in the African context we talk about man and woman. I didn't see where they say one woman, two men. You see, we should stop copying the bad things. We should copy the good things and practice it, but reject the bad ones.
Okay, Doc.
I think those who don't understand individual freedom, they put their interest above other people's interests. I think when you get to the level of freedom where the other person's interest is better than yours, then you begin to appreciate certain things that, one philosopher said, I do not agree with the word that you say, and I can push you to the thing that you do, but I would defend to death your right to say it. I would defend to death your ability to do it, even though I don't agree, as long as it doesn't harm society. That said, I disagree that some of these things are not African culture, and that's the hypocrisy of African culture. Right, even in Cameroon here, there are cultures where a woman can marry another woman, if that marriage doesn't involve consummation. There are cultures where if a woman doesn't have kids, she can officially marry another girl that will make children with her husband. And if we have, that is what we call our culture. And I think the cultures evolve. Cultures evolve because we want to maintain culture as is. Then we'll be bearing twins in some part of Africa, whether it's twins or albinos. People were killed and buried because of albinos. That was the culture. So culture is a progressive and evolutionary thing.
Yeah, it's like change.
And in front of it is always liberty.
Doctor, I'm afraid that one day doctor will come here and tell us that it's high time for us to legalize stealing.
We are not
because it is equally individual freedom.
No. I say that as long as you don't cause harm or you don't break the law.
And doctor,
as long as you don't cause harm. If I'm talking about adults who decide to live a style of life that
yes, we are not debating on
I am equally.
Roger, please. We are not debating on that, ladies and gentlemen. You can see
I'm glad that our law forbids all those things, so you can only give your opinion.
I have a question.
The deco has been planted. You ask the deco has been planted. In your
culture or in your tribe, can you give me the name of polyandry?
No.
There is no name for that. Something that doesn't exist in our culture doesn't have name.
Good. It's just like homosexuality. There is no name for that.
They don't have a name.
It is something that they have imported.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We are talking about South Africa.
I'm saying this.
It's not like a Western country started.
Yes, I'm saying this.
The question is not should we adopt polygamy in Cameroon.
Do you agree?
No,
yes, I agree with human liberty. If a government and people decide that is there, because this is passed by the parliament, that this is the right way for them their country to move forward, who am I to stand in their way?
All right, the deco has been planted, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. You can still react to it. Our topic, one of the day, remains the importance of the National Day. Like we all know, it is 49 years memory lane that Cameroonians concerted to abandon the unitary, the federal state of government for a unitary state. So for 49 years we have been living, we have a peaceful cohabitation. But before we go talking on the topic, we have this element to watch. We have a report that was done for us. I beg your pardon, though it's in French. We just have to watch and listen to see the chronic that Michelle prepared for us. All right, our technician is indicating that the report is still to be brought to light, or we go have a small transition, then come back towards the report and discuss later. Beautiful people, our report to plant the decor is still getting ready for us, so we are going to start discussions and follow the element in a couple of minutes. Njoya, you are a student and you study anthropology, but you are passionate about history. You're passionate about what concerns your nation. Today is May 20th, and we are celebrating. We're supposed to be celebrating, though today we are doing it in closed doors in different forms. Like we are here on set talking, revisiting the National Day. What does this day symbolize to you as an individual? When it's 20th May, how do you feel? Are you proud being a Cameroonian? Are you proud that, oh God, I thank you for making me be Cameroonian?
No, really, I'm really proud to be a Cameroonian and to witness the celebration of our country, seeing how the thing is going through. Because if a Cameroonian said that he's not proud of this, it means he is condemning those our nationalists that fight for this. That issue hold. Because if today we are maybe celebrating the National Unity Day of this Cameroon, it is a process that people have worked for that, so that it should take place like today we are celebrating. Because if Cameroonians are by saying that some Cameroonians, as I can say, are saying that we don't know about the National Day of the country, it means they are trying to wipe a part of history of which it cannot be take out. It is something being written already, of which you have to maybe search inside which part of it was wrong, or which part of it they did something that was not good, and we should try to bring our own contribution that will maybe make things to progress very well. It's what I can say about the National Day. And concerning the National Day, I will first of all to extend my wishes to all the Cameroonians. I wish them happy National Day to all the entire nation, all Cameroonians, and in and abroad, and all the televiewers. Really, I'm really proud for the National Day of this our country, relating my proudness in the history of the country.
All right. Dr. Eric, 20th May 1972.
Let me not. I hope that
20th May 2021. You have watched events unfold. We may say, okay, you were not there when it started, but you lived it from where you started experiencing the day. From the way the country has been going, was this day worth the trouble?
Frida, my hope is that we have already celebrated the last 20th May in Cameroon. That is the 2019. because this day is a fraud, and most Anglophones agree with that. This day doesn't celebrate the independence of Cameroon, or the day Cameroon came together. It celebrates the assimilation of Anglophone Cameroon into the Francophone system, and the system that has led us to the world that we have. These are facts, these are historical facts that most Anglophones, they don't even recognize. I've said, many of them said that this day, there are 2 days that we can celebrate. If we want to celebrate the origin of Cameroon, that's the first part of Cameroon got its independence in 1st of January. It's a day that we already celebrate. If we want to make that an official celebration day, that at least makes sense, because talking about when the majority of this space we call Cameroon got its independence. Now, the other option is the 1st of October.
Yes.
When English Cameroon decided to link to the Eastern Cameroon to form what we know today as Cameroon. So that is the building of Cameroon, the construction. How dare you celebrate a day that is the day that the first president violated the constitution of Cameroon by imposing from a federal to a unitary state? That condition of the constitution was not supposed. It was written in the constitution, you cannot change the form of the state. He went and changed the form of the state, and this clique of people that hijacked the country have imposed a day in us that is a very bad souvenir for Anglophones. So I think that I'm praying and I'm hoping that we have celebrated the last 20th May on the 19th. I believe that the Third Republic of Cameroon, this date will not survive, because this is a clear thing that people will stand and fight against in any dialogue that we have. We should celebrate what matters. We shouldn't celebrate assimilation. We shouldn't celebrate violation of Cameroon's constitution. What does this day represent? It represents a violation of our first constitution. It's the origin of what we know today as the disrespect of what we call constitution, which is what guarantees the long-term stability and prosperity of the country. So, Frida, the last 20th May was celebrated in 2019. I'm hoping that we never celebrate or think of this day anymore. But we should look for a good day that befits the symbol of our nation and celebrate that as one Cameroon.
All right, Dr. Roger, today is the day of national unity. Like it's been said, since I was born, that's what I've been hearing. When you see you are a Cameroonian, you are in Cameroon, you see how things go. Is really the national unity part of it? Do you feel it like sincerely feeling that we are united, though in diversity?
First of all, Frida, I want to say that if in our party there's a Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, if we come to power, or the day will come to power, we are going to change this day. You understand? And national unity for us is not based on around the celebration. This is a day that Cameroonians should think, use it to think. They should be courageous to ask the real questions. Go back to our history and find out where we went wrong. Because look at the country today. Everybody is disgruntled. The Anglophones are angry. The Francophones are angry. Most often when we talk about the National Day, some people think that it's only the Anglophones who are angry. No, there are so many Francophones who were federalists. There are so many Francophones. Even after when multipartism was introduced, the party of one of the first person that was so hard with federalism, who promoted federalism, beside the SDF in the 90s, that was Mr. Jean-Jacques Ekinzi, you understand, with his party MP in Mouvement Patriotique. You understand? That's to tell you that there are so many Francophones who were federalists, but now we left from a federal state and come to a unitary state, and now they are telling us we are celebrating a national unity. This is a day that Cameroonians should go back. They should think of where we went wrong. You understand? It's just like we should go back to our history, Frida. Look at those errors, you understand, and see how the solutions we can put on the table using this day as an opportunity. It's just like during the 1960s, before the independence, our nationalists fought for independence. We were granted independence, but we didn't have the opportunity to write a social contract. And that's the same thing that's happening today in Cameroon. Most people are talking about the departure of President Biya. They want President Biya to go at all costs, but they are not proposing an alternative. Anyway, in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, the alternative is Honorable Cabral Ibi for the Third Republic. But most Cameroonians, if you ask them, you want President Biya to leave power, what is the alternative? That's the same thing that happens when we were fighting for independence. We didn't have the chance to write a social contract. We didn't have the chance to study ourselves, get to know ourselves. We didn't have the chance to use our specificity to build our nation. Cameroon is a unique country in the world. Look, a country like Ethiopia, for Ethiopia, after the long period of war, for Ethiopia to survive, they had to go back and study their country. They discovered that the best system they had to implement as a form of government is the tribal federalism, because what they practice in the form of government in Ethiopia is tribal federalism. You understand?
That's right.
Yeah. Now, come to us in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation. We have done some research, we've done some work, we've gone back, studied, look at the past and the future, and we think the best solution to Cameroon, I agree with Doctor that there was a violation of the 1961 Constitution, and that's Article 65 of the Constitution, that states that the form of the state shall never be touched. And if you have to go legally, you understand that the unitary state was a total violation, which means you can consider the unitary state as an illegal institution. You understand? We can, because violating a constitution means that the thing that comes after the violation of that constitution is illegal. You understand? But we have been living in it since, this is 49 years. We have been living in it. But this is a time for us to go back and reflect. Look at the Anglophone crisis, which is a very big opportunity. Look at the COVID, because the COVID has, we're going to talk about the management of the funds of COVID. The COVID has come with a lot of eye-opening, you understand? This is the moment. And we think in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, the best form of state to implement is communitarian federalism, what we call communitarian federalism, or identical regionalism. Now, we can equally see the National Day at the level of the military. Yeah. It's an opportunity for the military to celebrate, because this particular day, not when I talk about the military, I involve everybody, the uniformed men, the police, be it the gendarme. This is an opportunity for them to celebrate, because at this particular day they have an allowance. It is equally an opportunity. They have some benefits, not only a financial allowance. They equally have some new uniforms, some new equipment. You understand? That's been given to them. After this day, it is at the level of a normal citizen like you and I. Though you're not a normal citizen, you're a journalist, but at the level of a normal citizen, that's, I'm talking about now, my mother and my brothers and around the neighborhoods, at the level of them, it is equally an opportunity for them to celebrate with their president. They watch him on TV, he comes, and the military do their parade. You know, when a day like this, those guys are very wonderful in most of their display, you understand. The people are happy, they see this, they rejoice with their president. Those who are fortunate to go down to the grandstand to celebrate with the president, they see it, they see it. But at the end of the day, the question is this, the pertinent question is this: what next? Which means to me, or to us in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, we consider this day as a day of reflection, not a day of drinking or dancing. We could drink and dance, but the major thing is a day of reflection. Let's go back in our history, see where we went wrong, and see how we can move forward. That is what we think.
All right. Joya, I want to come to you. Do you buy the idea of this politician here? Do you think we should rethink?
Really, I don't buy your ideology, because if you are to say that, maybe, yes, I agree that President Ayo violated the constitution, but I'll have to set this against you. Anglophone are the cause of their problem. I will still reveal history.
No.
Wait, you tell us how they are the cause of the problem.
Because after the First World War, before the First War, Cameroon was one. We were not talking of something Anglophone side, Francophone side. We were talking of one Cameroon. In 1884, there was not anything. There was not anything like Cameroon Anglophone side of Anglophone side and Francophone side. There was no such thing before. But after the First World War, as those foreigners came and fight for their bread and shared our country, and both of them decide to rule us the way they wanted, not the way we want. And part of those side they are calling Anglophone side went to Britain side, and they were maybe inherited the culture of Britain.
Just like the French
And there is French section inherited the system, but to really those Cameroon that they were in both sides, they have the feeling of their brothers because they knew the thing was wrongly shared. They were not really willing to share their country because it leads to the separation of family. Because if it was not something of Eastern Regional Crisis of Nigeria, like those Cameroonians that they are saying that they are Southerners, they would have not think of this Cameroon. It was because of the problem in the Eastern Region. As when they was enjoying life in Nigeria, none of them mentioned the reunification of Cameroon. None of them still mention again that we have to look of developing. No, it is when the problem break out between AO8 and Namdi and Zikiwe. It means once the problem break out now and they lose their job, they lose their position there where they were eating, they think of returning back home. Meaning that they are the cause, they are contributing to this problem we are now witnessing.
That's
because you see, once the problem break out in 1953, Eastern Regional Crisis, and all this take off up to the 1961 place we see Fuman Conference, all those Anglophone that were happy to reunify our country, where they were maybe turning their mind when they lose their position. I will still reveal this. When Endele was for the reunification of Cameroon at first, when he lost position due to his arrogancy, he now turned to the integration towards Nigeria. It means if he would have not lost the popularity, he would have been for the reunification of Cameroon. The fact that he was too arrogant, he was someone tougher than anyone, he lost his position, he now turned for the integration of Nigeria.
So in effect, what you're saying is the Anglophones in those days are the ones that took the Anglophones
to this
platter of gold to the La République.
Concerning, I'm talking about what the doctor is saying that he is not.
They accepted that the former president violated
that
the
is
constitution.
it, and I want to let him know again that Anglophone also are the cause of their problem.
Okay.
Doctor.
They are the cause of their problem.
I'm trying to understand the logic there that Anglophone are the cause of
their problem.
Are you saying that the Anglophone problem is joining Cameroon? Because that's what you have explained.
Because we came together.
You have explained that Ndele's problem is that he joined Cameroon. So that's, and he joined because it was so. Is Anglophone problem the fact that Anglophone joined their brothers in Cameroon?
I'm saying this.
What do you
Which
consider
means we are
Anglophone
coming back
problem?
to the same.
What do you consider Anglophone problem?
I consider Anglophone because Anglophone are the one saying that they have problem.
So
You've
there's
not
no
seen the
problem.
problem.
I'm not seeing any problem.
So then if you don't see any problem, then why are you blaming
Aijo, the former
the
president?
other guy, Ndele, for being responsible for a problem? What problem is he responsible?
I was trying to develop.
So you can conclude that there is no problem, but Ndele is responsible.
You are the one that mentioned the problem. That there's a problem.
Yeah, there is a
No,
problem.
we
And we are
have to
seeing
be
it
people are
today.
listening.
And
to us.
I want to project it to you that
Yes,
if
that
there's a problem, like you are the cause of the problem, if you are seeing a problem.
Okay, so in other words, we are a cause of a problem
The
that does not
problem
exist.
that
The
That's
problem
the
is,
argument you are
no,
making.
the problem is existing as you are the one that have identified the problem. It means you are the cause of the problem.
no.
Okay.
So
I
want to define my point.
Let's go back because
I want
at
to
the point of the
define-
day, I understand that you say there's no problem. So
No,
that's what you have said.
hear me. There's a problem. You have already identified that is a problem.
What is the problem?
And
That's
you,
what I
I
want to
want now to let you know that you are the cause of the problem. You people that are telling us that there's a problem, you are the cause of the problem. I wanted now to reveal you that you should see that if there's a problem, like those Anglophone are the cause of the problem.
We are talking to Cameroonians.
founding
We
fathers.
are talking to Cameroonians. We're not talking to foreigners.
No.
Let's be clear here. Let's be clear first.
We are talking
I've
to
asked
Cameroonians.
you-
I wanted to develop my point so that you see
No, you finish your
where the
point.
problem is now.
When you fi- the
So that you
question
should
was
maybe
my
my contribution should
Okay,
be
you want to
acceptable.
show where the problem is.
The problem is
Then show us where the
because
problem
you see,
is.
if it was not of the First World War, not of Eastern Regional Crisis of 1953, then there would have not been any problem in this Cameroon.
So what is the problem now?
The problem is that Anglophone are saying that they have been marginalized, they are jobless, they are not being developed.
So how does this
And
have
you
to do, Mona? How does it have to do, Ndele? How does this marginalization?
I was developing my point so that you should see where
So
their
are
problem
you
is.
saying that Ndele is responsible for this marginalization?
I don't
I'm
think
saying
that,
I'm saying this.
become a ping point
No,
between
no,
doctor and
no,
Cameroonians are listening and we are confused.
Yes, come on, I
You have
want
made- you have
to
developed an
mention
argument,
this to the
but
doctor.
I
See now,
think I've
if he
given
said
you enough time.
he is not aware or happy for the national unity because they violated the law, it means I want to let him know that if the law was being violated, they are the cause.
They will.
Those that identify the problem.
Okay.
Dr.
Well, I think in Brigade we have had 3 reasons. We first said that there is a problem, and when the problem was asked, we heard that there was no problem. And then when they asked the 3rd time, the problem is that there is no problem because we said there is a problem. So Cameroonians are listening to this.
Yes, they're listening.
What I'm talking about is we're talking about 20th May celebration.
Yeah, 20th May
and
celebration.
The date 20th May is a provocation to part of Cameroon. And I'm happy
Which
that
part of
my
Cameroon?
brother of
CPNR.
CPNR mentioned that they are federalists in both parts of Cameroon, in both the Anglophone and the Francophone part.
Madam
and you had the time to talk. You had the
I'll come
time.
back to you.
We say that these are the Anglophones saying that they have a problem. Somebody cannot say I have a pain in his shoe. I think that there's no pain in his shoe. It doesn't make sense. This is the arrogance of the France-Afrique culture, which we are trying to fight. That is somebody tell you that I have a problem. I have headache. Somebody tell that no, you don't have headache. Find out what the person is saying. Find out and let's look for solution. Otherwise, we'll end in an endless war. We are talking about a war that has to stop, and we cannot arrogantly. Each time that people say they have a problem, and that's what the CRM has also said, the president-elect Maurice Kamto said it. When somebody tells that I have a pain in my leg,
try to check.
but you keep telling that there's a stone in my shoe. Find out where there's a stone. Don't tell him that there's no stone in your shoe. Don't tell him that he's responsible for the stone in the shoe. And then at the end, when they ask you that what's the problem, you say the problem is not there, that it's there because you said there's a problem, and because there's a problem, there's no problem. In fact, what are you saying? What are you saying, gentlemen? I can tell you that please take your time and interact with people who know what is happening in Cameroon. And I'm telling you that as we are talking, for no problem, for something you call no problem, 4,000 Cameroonians under the most conservative estimate have died.
Where is the problem?
4,000 Cameroonians have died.
Where is the problem?
And so, I have the floor.
If
you want to listen, I will listen to you when your time comes. So, what we are saying that this country needs a national dialogue. And in that national dialogue, everything has to come back to the drawing board, and we have to define what we want this country to be. Because any country, every nation is a construct, and the construct has to have at the back of the mind long-term stability and prosperity. And in Cameroon, whatever construct that was there has not worked. If it had worked, we will not have Cameroonians fighting against Cameroonians in the north and southwest, and people telling us that there's no problem. That those who are complaining that they have a problem, it's ridiculous, it's arrogance, it's France-Afrique. We must fight it. We must fight it and restore back the identity of this country as it used to be. We have to be clear that nobody here, I don't think anybody on this table stands for any movement that supports separation. No. I don't think so. I know that my brother is from Kabalibi's party and from the CRM. We don't believe in separation. But we believe that a united Cameroon under a system that is agreed by Cameroonians is the best. They talk about communal federalism. We believe that through a dialogue we'll have a federal system that is representative of Cameroon in the best possible way that Cameroonians would have accepted. I mean, if somebody believes that the idea is that there's no problem, so we should send the military to kill people because there's no problem. No. This is wrong.
All right, Roger Fonkwe, before we come back to you, the technician is indicating that our report is ready, and now we'll go to the machines, watch our report, then we'll come to discuss just thereafter.
De référendum, le peuple camerounais, souverain et maître de son destin, sur l'institution immédiate d'un État unitaire.
Mai 1972, Amadou Ahidjo, premier président du Cameroun, organisa un référendum pour mettre fin au système fédéral en vigueur à cette époque. Le référendum fut largement voté, fort du nombre de oui prononcés, et la date du 20 mai devient la fête nationale du pays, désormais République unie du Cameroun. Les deux États fédérés dont le Cameroun oriental sous domination française et occidental sous domination britannique disparaissent ainsi. Des mutations furent tout de suite visibles. Le drapeau national qui était jusque-là marqué par deux étoiles d'or sur la bande verte change et retrouve une place sur la bande rouge. Cette place de choix désigna l'État unitaire. Depuis 1972, le Cameroun célèbre son unité à la date du 20 mai, une unité nationale qui a été conservée jusqu'à nos jours. Mai 2021, nous sommes à 49 ans d'unité. Pour survivre aussi longtemps, elle est passée par des crises. une crise dite anglophone, déclarée en 2016. Ce conflit est lié à la situation sociopolitique spécifique des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest du Cameroun. La crise est basée sur des revendications sécessionnistes qui demandent l'ouverture d'un débat sur le retour au fédéralisme. En octobre 2017, les indépendantistes prennent le devant et déclarent l'indépendance de l'ancien Cameroun britannique. Le gouvernement s'oppose à cette déclaration. Les revendications se transforment alors en un conflit armé. Le gouvernement camerounais fait front au mouvement sécessionniste. Le Cameroun doit rester un et indivisible. C'était le slogan. Côté gouvernemental, l'armée camerounaise a joué son rôle, lutter pour un retour à la paix. Elle passe au front et fait barrage aux actes scrapuleux que continuaient de perpétrer les ambazoniens. Parallèlement, la même armée était aussi au front contre la secte islamique dans l'extrême nord du Cameroun, qui a pour seule ambition terroriser les populations du pays. L'armée a montré sa bravoure en luttant jusqu'au bout. Elle trouve des stratégies pour détourner les pièges de cette secte qui a quand même réussi à ôter la vie à de nombreux Camerounais. Elle a aussi trouvé des moyens pour arrêter les ambazoniens qui ont arraché la vie à ses enfants, femmes et Camerounais qui ne demandaient qu'à vivre. On se rappelle du massacre de Ngarbo du 14 février 2020 qui a ôté la vie à plus de 22 civils. On se rappelle aussi de la fusillade à la Mother Francesca School of Kumba. Ils ont été au front. Le 22e bataillon d'infanterie motorisée a brillé sur le terrain. Ils ont repoussé des attaques, notamment celle à la journée du 5 décembre 2017. L'armée camerounaise a misé sa pour le ticket de la paix. La crise anglophone aurait fait 1850 morts et forcé plus de 530 personnes à fuir leur domicile. Le gouvernement camerounais a une fois de plus réagi, en donnant les toits, en distribuant des kits de première nécessité. Face à tout cela, le grand dialogue national a été institué par le chef de l'État à la date du 30 septembre 2019. Les Camerounais sont convoqués à la table du dialogue pour la recherche de la paix. Cette initiative du chef de l'État a marqué l'histoire de cette époque. Des commissions telles que la promotion du bilinguisme et du multiculturalisme ont été instaurées. La création du comité de désarmement, de mobilisation et de réintégration. Un plan présidentiel de reconstruction des deux régions a aussi été branlé pour le retour de la paix dans ces deux zones. L'unité nationale du Cameroun est aussi passée par une crise sanitaire mondiale qui a confiné les activités symboliques liées à cette unité depuis 2 ans. Pour limiter la propagation du coronavirus, le chef de l'État du Cameroun a sacrifié traditionnelle parade militaire devant les tribunes de l'heure. 2 ans que ça dure, la crise sanitaire a attaqué l'économie du pays, ôté aussi la vie à de nombreux Camerounais. À la date du 6 mars 2021, un an après la déclaration des premiers cas, le pays a affiché plus de 35 700 cas positifs et plus de 105 décès selon les statistiques officielles. Le gouvernement a prescrit des mesures à respecter, des mesures qui sont toujours en vigueur, étant donné que la maladie se promène toujours. Le Cameroun va donc célébrer la 49e édition de son unité, sous le thème « Armée et Nation ». Ensemble pour relever les défis de la sécurité sanitaire et préserver la paix, la stabilité et la prospérité du Cameroun, mais en mode confiné. Le thème est évocateur. Il interpelle encore l'armée camerounaise face aux défis sécuritaires. La nation aussi face aux défis de la paix, de la stabilité et de la prospérité. La carte du jeu est donc entre les mains de tous. L'armée n'est pas le seul gage de la paix. Les Camerounais tous ont aussi leur carte à jouer. Consolider l'intégrité nationale est une affaire de tous, car un Cameroun uni, rayonnant, procure la bonne lumière à tout le monde.
Welcome back, beautiful people. That was a report in French done for us by Michelle, contributing to the broadcast of today's edition of Let's Talk. Just to remind us that the theme for this 49th edition of the National Day is the Army and the Nation together to win the health security challenge and preserve peace, stability, and the prosperity of Cameroon. That theme is usually drafted by the Ministry of Defense. So we are still in the house with the guys. Roger Fonkwa, you followed you followed the report, and of course we are focusing on the importance of the National Day. Before we went for the report break, Doctor was saying that the day is a day to rethink, and you said the day was to rethink. Supposedly we rethink this day, or we had to rethink before now. How important do you think this day was supposed to be to Cameroonians in general?
Anyway, Frida, when my co-panelist Joya was talking, I listened to him and I listened to Doctor. I came to realize one thing, and this is something we have been singing in our party every day. Cameroonians don't know themselves. Cameroonians don't know themselves, and that is why during the first time I took the mic, I said that we have to go back and draft a social contract. And it is only through a social contract that we are going to get to know ourselves. During the process of the social contract, we are going to decide how we want to live, the kind of things we want for ourselves. You understand? Now, let me just give you a brief example. If Doctor is leaving Yaoundé to, let me say, Gidigis in the north, I'm not sure if Doctor will bother to learn Fufude.
No.
I'm not sure, because he believes that he will go there and speak French. Yes, if there is somebody who doesn't understand French, at least someone will be there to translate. But now, if Doctor is leaving Cameroon to Spain for a 6-month course in Spain, or let me say Italy, Doctor is going to learn Latin. He's going to learn the Italian language, or he's going to learn Spanish. You understand? Even if he's living in France, I know he speaks French, but he's going to try to perfect his French. And Doctor will not only end at the level of learning the language, he's equally going to learn the kind of foods they eat in Italy. You understand? That is trying to know the Italian people. Whereas in Cameroon, you don't bother knowing the Cameroonian people. That is why Njoya can easily tell you there is no Anglophone problem. You understand? And that is why Doctor will look at Njoya and he is confused, looking at another Cameroonian telling me there is no Anglophone problem. You see, because they don't know themselves. And that is why we are saying that this day is a day that we need to be courageous. I was listening to your the report. I discovered that one thing keeps sounding in my mind. Cameroonian needs to be courageous to get to know ourselves. This is a day we need to be courageous to listen to one another. I need to listen to Doctor. I need to be patient and listen to Doctor talking. Understand where Doctor is coming from. I need to listen to Njoya. Understand. Sometimes their points might not make sense to me, but there is no harm in listening. In every foolishness, there is something sensitive out of it. That is what has been killing Cameroon. You understand? Before I continue, I just want to rectify something, historical fact. Ndeli was not the one who fought for reunification with La République du Cameroun. It was Foncha. Ndeli instead fought for joining Nigeria. It was after Foncha defeated him, that was when he gave his blessings to the delegation that was going to Fumban. And there is a fat lie that they have been telling us that the French or La République du Cameroun got its independence. I use La République with the context of 1960. Got its independence on the 1st of January 1960. It is a fat lie. The independence was on the 13th of March 1959. It was just an agreement between La République and France to celebrate it on the 1st of January. You understand? It was on the 13th of March 1959. You understand that they had their independence, and it was announced on the 1st of January 1960. You understand? There are so many lies, there are so many misinformation that they have been feeding us in the past years. You understand? That is why we in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, we strongly believe that a day like this should not be a day where we just go march past. We salute our military that I respect a lot, because they are doing a marvelous job. I remember before we came into the studio, I was telling Joya out of the studio, watching a program on your TV, and I was telling Joya that these guys are doing a wonderful job. You understand? What our military is doing in Cameroon is something to salute. When people hear about the Cameroonian military, they always think about the crisis in the northwest and southwest. No, people don't know these guys are building roads in Cameroon. They don't know these guys are building hospitals. They don't know these guys are building schools. They don't know these guys are giving medical assistance to so many people or so many villages in Cameroon, which is something that we need to come out courageously and salute it. You understand? In every war situation, there are errors.
Excesses.
You understand? Even when you look at the American war between America and Iraq and the rest, you discover that, okay, some few months or I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, some French soldiers were arrested in Central Africa for raping some girls below 12 years. You understand? There are so many errors. But I want to tell you that our militaries are doing a marvelous job. But now, put the military aside. You understand that Cameroonians need to get to know themselves. I have said that. And this now comes back to the responsibilities of all the Cameroonians. Be it Doctor, be it Joya, you, Frida, our technicians, everybody. We have to get to know ourselves, because it is our responsibilities. But now, there is a problem, Frisha. What is the problem? The problem is we have a government in place that cannot do this job. Because going back to to work on a social contract simply means changing the statute quo.
Right, yeah.
And if you change the statute quo, there is going to be the loss of power, and which is something they are not ready to give. Because if you talk about, we can look about the special status that was given to Northwest and Southwest after the major national dialogue. The special status, according to the text, is something marvelous. But the point behind it is, the people ruling us, that's the centralization that has been existing in Yaoundé. Everything is being decided in Yaoundé. You can take an example, the crisis at the level of the Bangante municipality going on presently. You see the decisions that are coming from Yaoundé. Yaoundé has said that it's a common slogan. Yaoundé, permit me to put it in pidgin. Yaoundé don't talk, say they don't decide so for Yaoundé. You understand? If you apply the special status, it's not going to be Yaoundé don't talk, say. And some people in the government or the government is not ready to leave this power go. How can you explain that? You tell people we are giving you autonomy, at the same time you are the one appointing the secretary of the region, and you say that with the recommendation of the secretary you have appointed, you understand, the president can dissolve the regional council.
So what is good about that? Because I will interrupt you a little bit, because you say that in writing, you are describing it as it is written, right? You are describing the special status as it is written. There's nothing violated. What you have described is what the text writes, and that's what they apply. So how can it be good written and the bad practice when they are practicing what is written?
Doctor,
that special status.
Doctor, it is always good to exercise. That was why I was talking about. The reason why I was talking about Cameroonians lack the patience to listen to each other, because I was going somewhere.
We are talking to
now when you interrupt me, maybe you might not make me. You know, when you are in the spirit of developing a point.
I don't want to miss that part. I'm sorry for taking that time, but I have to be clear.
Doctor, jot it down. Then
yes,
you come
I just want
back
to
to
signal
it.
that what they are applying is what they wrote down. To me, that national dialogue and the special status is a fraud. It doesn't answer anything. It's what they do is when you ask for something, they look for what look like a semblance, because you cannot talk about a special status when there's a governor. A leader of a region that is a special state, an entity. When there's a governor appointed by Yaoundé.
This is what I was just, Doctor, just note it down. Because if you note it down, I'm sure what I will say at the end of it, you will not even use the point you're going to note down. I was trying to tell our televiewers out there that look at the extent to which these people are not willing to lose their power. You understand? That was where I was driving to. If you would have allowed me to.
It's just that you started in the wrong
you cannot say that it's
well written.
No, doctor.
It's just like if somebody else comes, you don't need to change it. You just need to apply it differently.
Doctor,
you know what I'm saying? That's the impression you give. Well, it has to be changed.
When you keep interrupting me,
don't
allow me to go ahead on my reasoning.
Okay, he's backing you up.
Okay, I'll let you talk now to the end.
See, to round up, like I was talking about the special status. You understand? I said this. The special status is something marvelous. But within the special status, I was telling you to what extent these people are not willing to lose the power. Now, let's come to us in the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation. You cannot be talking about decentralization, effective decentralization, and you have the president of the region and the governor is still existing. You have, because for us, we wipe out the governor. We wipe out the government. Okay, now they're talking about the city mayor, because I want to talk about the government delegate, the city mayors. We wipe out those positions, you understand, because they don't serve for any purpose, you understand. Now, the importance of National Day, briefly. Doctor, listen to me. Njoya, listen to me, and I should be able. No, I'm saying I should be able to listen to you guys.
Okay,
you understand? We should be courageous to listen to one another. No matter how painful what doctor will say, my heart, President Biya should be able to listen. The government of President Biya should be able to listen to Cameroonians. And please, Joya, it's an advice. Don't say there is no Anglophone problem. No. There is an Anglophone problem, because when President Aijo was in power, he sent a 3-man delegation to the Northwest and Southwest, and President Biya was fortunate to be member of that delegation. You understand? When they came back, they made a report of which they said to President Aijo that there is an Anglophone problem in Cameroon, and if there is somebody who master the Anglophone problem, though you cannot master something more than the victims, more than the Anglophones, but if there is a Francophone or a French-speaking Cameroonians who master the Anglophone problem in Cameroon, is President Paul Biya. But he has been in power for 38 years and 56 or 57 years as a first-class civil servant in Cameroon. He is unable to tackle this problem. What is the reason behind it? The lack of courage to let go the statu quo.
Statu quo, yes. Doctor, before I come to you, Njoya, how is important you like this day, you like the day, you are happy being a Cameroonian. So how important is the day to you? What does it add
Madam
to you?
Frida, the problem is that once I want to develop my points,
no, go ahead.
Companies always interrupt me.
Go ahead.
Because if they are maybe saying that I don't maybe agree that there is an Anglophone problem, it means I'm out of Cameroon. I wanted to develop my point by saying this, that Anglophone problem, they are the cause of their problem, if there's a problem. I wanted to develop...
We are still using if, meaning you are not convinced that there is a problem.
They said there is a problem.
Okay.
I said this now, that they are the cause of their problem.
Okay.
Now I wanted now to develop my points that if they are identified that there's a problem, let them see where this problem is coming from. They should not maybe by accusing Francophones.
Okay.
Because those things of Francophone, Anglophone in history, we should wipe that in our mind.
There is that in history.
No, I'm saying this. We should take it out of our head, because we are not to blame our nationalists or our forefathers that maybe they did such. We have made now to see what we can do, like a solution to that.
Okay.
That we should not maybe by saying that this is a Banso, this is a Bama, this is a Basa, this no. That should be something that we should be witnessing now in Cameroon.
Right.
Reason being this, I said Anglophone are the cause of that, and I try to develop my points. Because if we take back in 1953, I will maybe be briefed. In 1953, when the East African crisis started, those Anglophone that way, those Southern Cameroonians that were working in Nigeria, they lose their job. Once they lose their job, now they turn their mind to return back to their country, starting to see the problem that their people were facing, the less developed of their area, of which they were not seeing it at first. If they would have not lost their job, they have not maybe think of their people.
But they ran away from cold water to find themselves in frost water.
No, they never ran away. It was a problem that erupted between Nnamdi Azikiwe and Eweita in their party, that they supported Nnamdi Azikiwe. It makes them to lose their position in Nigeria. They return back now to Cameroon, some of which were now for as I mentioned, that Ndele, as arrogancy, as history is telling us, he lost popularity in Cameroon. At first, he was for the reunification of Cameroon, but once he loses his popularity, now he now divert for the integration of Nigeria. And Mfoncha now was now for the reunification of Cameroon. You see that as all of them were for their personal interest, not of the general interest of Cameroonians. See what we are witnessing today in Cameroon. Because if today, I'm not blaming them, but history, what we are witnessing now will blame them. Because if today, Foncha, maybe as he succeeds for the reunification of Cameroon, going to the Bermuda All-Party Conference. The delegation of Ndele were not accepted. Forgetting that he's part of that area. He has his own contribution that he should bring to them. Before arriving Fumban Conference, 1960, if I have full mind, delegation of Francophone, they give their draft to Anglophone so that they should study in their area.
They give them
they give their own draft for the government of which they have to join, but due to their selfishness, personal interest, Foncha and Muna never exposed it to their people because they were feeling that they was maybe seeing only their personal interest. Of which once they arrived in Fumban, their draft were already given to Francophone. They studied it already, knows that this one will not accept, this one will not accept. You see that once they reached Fumban, most of their proposals they mentioned, they rejected it because Francophone studied it already. But just Anglophone never studied their own due to their selfishness. And once they get out in Fumban, adopting all whatsoever they were adopting, they still return back to Yaoundé, tripartite conference in Yaoundé. Of which all this now, there were certain things that all those wrong proposals that the Francophone did in Fumban, they now arrived in Yaoundé now, they still modify certain things. I will come to agree with Doctor that the constitution was frauded, but we should not reach to the extent that we should not by saying that just Francophone. The bundle of the blame issue should be shared. It should be shared to all Cameroonians. Because if there's a problem now, I will ask Mr. Doctor, what have you done so that this problem should be solved? Not only the government we should be blaming, because the government is us. Government is who? We are the one. By then, what have Mr. Doctor done or Mr. Fonkwe? Just mentioning my party. No. What have you people done right now? Because if we are to say that the government, it means there's no government. Because if you are out of the government is those that are working. It's a question. Whether we are not working, are we not government? We are government. Because we are electing our deputies that goes to our assembly to talk in our own place. It means we are the government. We are sending them people that to talk in our place. Reason being that I will say this day, the National Unity Day is really important to Cameroonians. It is a historical day that Cameroonians have to. If it was a mistake, let us see what we can find out like a solution of that problem.
Coming back for reflection, you said they should reflect on the day.
That is it. They should reflect.
The errors
I'm
of the
not
past.
because I am not. It is not what I'm saying. It is history and analyze history and sees that if there's a problem, these people contribute to the problem. It means as they contribute, they were the cause of the problem. We should not just blame them because those that were at the time, they never also tell them that there's a problem because they were fighting also to eat. They say in French, la bouche qui mange ne parle pas.
Why did they give them we and yes at the same time?
No, they say we and yes because see, those Anglophone, they were intellectual Anglophone that knew already that we and yes means yes and no. We and yes means the same thing. As they were eating, la bouche qui mange ne parle pas.
They were tricked. Thank you.
You see, as they were eating, they were skeptical to say something because they were eating already. Same as this our government. Those that are eating are saying nothing.
All right, you landed.
Frida,
they are saying nothing.
Just few seconds. Just few seconds. I want
Doctor,
to remind that Doctor, please. I want to tell Joya that you cannot put the difficulties of a community on a particular individual. You should leave the past and live in the present.
I'm not the one saying history.
No, I'm coming. We should be patient to listen to each other. You cannot be saying Ndeli lost his job or this.
I'm making their delegation.
And the rest, they are no more.
It is all the I'm just mentioning all the names, but there are many of them.
Yes, those people you're talking about, they are no more here.
Yes.
People are dying in the northwest and southwest. What is the way forward? Do you understand? Talking about what our party has been doing, I will leave Dr. but I'll come to that.
All right, Doctor, how important is this National Day supposed to be?
I will talk about this in a bit, but from what I just drew from Mr. Nigeria's conclusion, it means that if I want to get into a business affair or a friendly union with somebody, my first intention would be to dupe that person. That's what I'm understanding. And after duping the person, if the person is stupid enough for me to manipulate him, what we agree that is favoring me, I still have the right to violate. Let's assume that Ndele, Foncha, let's assume that any electoral charge was as wrong as it was presented, they are responsible. Let's
Not
assume
their
that-
delegation.
Well,
I mentioned their name because they were the
I'm not
leaders.
talking now, right?
All right.
Okay, let's assume that
They were tricked.
the way you describe it is perfect.
No, they were greedy.
They were stupid, they did everything, and they came out with the document.
To
Out
suit
of their
themselves.
stupidity, they came out with the document out of their stupidity. That favors Ayijo and the rest. Why not have the decency to respect that document? You've already won them on the argument because they were stupid and they got into this. They stupidly joined francophones, as you put it. I don't even call those words that way. But yes, they were stupid. They signed a document that did not favor them. Okay, good. We'll take that. Why not have the decency to respect that document? And that is where the problem starts. We are not talking about what happened before. We are talking about that document that came out of manipulation. Why not even respect it? And if somebody doesn't have the decency to see it from that point, there's a problem. Now, talking about the National Day, I think I want to come again. I want to go back to the speech of the President-elect, His Excellency Maurice Kamto, who paid tribute to the military. And I agree with him that we have also often underestimated and neglected the role of the military, because the military has to be the guarantor of our democracy. In other words, they have to be that structure that doesn't align under an individual or under a group or a clan, but they must serve the interests of the republic. And they must be when they are called upon to defend the nation, they must defend the nation with integrity and respect. That's why what we in the CRM believe is that in that military, and like in any military in the world, once a while you have 1 or 2% that don't act by the rules of the game, that don't act professionally. A government and the political structure in place must make sure that such behaviors are discouraged by making sure that those who act out of the professional expectation must be brought to justice and penalized, not protected. That's why the President-elect also talk about reforming the military, because it's very, very important that we reform the military.
You said you're rectifying your word, President-elect.
Can you listen
President.
to me? Can you listen to me?
He was not elected. The elected president is Paul Biya. All the entire world knows that President Paul is the president-elected.
Let him finish.
Okay, he has switched the position. Thank you. You have said Biya is the president-elect and Kamto is the president.
No, because you are saying the elected president. That is the
you are
problem.
giving more than I deserve.
What is the problem?
No, you have told me that Kamto is the president and Biya is the president-elect.
No, I'm saying this. You should stop saying that elected president.
Think before talking. Think before talking. Because let's talk about elected president. Let me explain the concept of elected president. Maybe you don't understand.
Yeah.
Elected president is somebody who has been elected but has not yet taken office. It's that simple.
Okay, thank you.
If you think that he has not taken office, and maybe perhaps that's why he's invisible.
No, because
we don't see him anywhere. He doesn't do
please.
anything that he's supposed to do.
Tell us
So maybe he's still waiting to
about
take
the
office.
importance of the National
Okay,
Day.
thank you. So we were talking about the role of the military as an entity that we really need to reform, so that we make sure that our military never fall under the temptation that we've seen in other countries. We have seen in Chad where the military grossly violated the constitution and the rights of the people and imposed a military junta in power. We don't want this kind of thing. We want a military that's more responsible, that's Republican, that's an institution that we can respect. And in order to do this, we need to reform it. We need to also make sure that there is justice, and there's justice in Cameroon. Because honestly, Frida, if you look at every crisis in the world, every sort of violence in the world, you see that justice, the lack of justice, is always the major cause. We look at countries that have a good judiciary, that practice the rule of law and right. Those are countries that guarantee long-term stability. Go all over the world and look at that. And that's why every time that the government in place violates the right, and I tell you, the Constitution is a sacred document. It's a document that guarantees the peace. Every time you neglect the Constitution of the country, you set the country towards a slippery slope of violence. And I'm sorry, I just started it, and here we are today. He violated that Constitution, and now we're in a situation where we don't know who can respect that book. It's a problem. We need to sit down and reconstruct our nation with a document and a book that we call Constitution that everybody has to respect. You cannot violate it under any circumstance. And that's why we defend the Constitution of Cameroon, and we believe that. And then I want to just answer the fact that my brother kept saying that Cameroonians don't know each other. I refuse that narrative, because that narrative means that we need to step backwards and just learn to know each other. In other words, it's even an invitation to say that it's somehow saying that we're not ready for independence because we don't know each other. So let us know each other first before we move forward. No, Cameroonians know each other. I can tell that we're talking about, we just cited the situation of food because we like talking about food. when I go to any local thing, I eat the local food. I don't need to. I don't even need to like to train myself to like it. It just flows naturally because I'm in Cameroon. I've been to the north. I've been to the south. I've been everywhere. Cameroonians know each other. The problem is not the Cameroonian people don't know each other. We have a government in Cameroon that's incompetent, that does not respect the rights of the Cameroonian people. That is a government that is at the borderline irresponsible. And we'll be talking about the COVID crisis soon. In any other place in the world, the parliament would have been calling for the impeachment of this government. Somehow in Cameroon, our parliamentarians are contented with national dialogue. A dialogue that has led to more violence than there was before. A dialogue that is based on manipulation and fraud, for which 4 billion francs Cfa was used without us knowing how it was spent. And but honestly, it's a disgrace and embarrassment for anybody to use the national dialogue to justify anything. The Parliament of Cameroon should be thinking on how to stop the slippery slope in which we are, which is the constant embezzlement, the absence of the president, all of that. A responsible parliament would have stopped this thing long ago. That's impeaching the government.
All right, if there is one thing I've gotten from this set is that everybody buys the idea that we should go back to the drawing board to try to rectify the errors of the past. I know you are itching to talk. We'll go to our machine since I've been talking the importance of the National Day, the 20th May to Cameroonians. We'll go back to our machines to watch an excerpt that we got from one of the finest citizens in Cameroon. We'll go to our machines and have the excerpt of Professor Evis Ngole and come back to discuss.
My pleasure, and at any time, feel free. Feel free. Go ahead. Frida?
Yes, we are celebrating 49th 20th May in Cameroon. I would just want you to bring us back to the symbolic meaning of the National Day. What does 20th May really symbolize in Cameroon?
For all Cameroonians, 20th May symbolizes the day that all the citizens of the country, no matter whether you're sick or you're not sick, no matter whether you're rich or poor, no matter whether you are in the provinces or in the nation's capital, it is the one day in which all citizens commemorate or celebrate or feast, if they want, the fact that their mothers and fathers gave birth to them on a land which is theirs. And that's why we refer to it as the day we think of motherland or fatherland. It is the day that we think of how we thank our mothers and our fathers, we thank our head of state, we thank our institutions, we thank our constitution, we thank our founding fathers, because we are citizens, we are children of the same fatherland. For us, that is a day of gratitude, a day of gratitude to the state, gratitude to your founding father, gratitude to your parents, gratitude to the land which has kept you alive. You can smile, you can eat, you can. It's the day that you show gratitude and you reflect on and you think of 49 years that you've lived and you are alive, you are happy, you can talk, you enjoy the benefits that this land has given, all the good things about the country, and you thank God that your mother and father gave birth to you on this land, the land which has never refused you. So it's the day of fatherland, motherland, and because it is like that, it is a momentous day. It is a day that defines your attachment to the land of your father and your mothers, and it is like no other day. So you now think of the symbols of the state. Offers to you, and it doesn't depend on a decree. It doesn't depend on whether it doesn't depend on the moment. It is something which is a spirit. It is in fact what we say a state of mind. So national unity for us on this day is a sort of spirit for you. It is spiritual, it is philosophical, it is political, it is personal, it is emotional, it is passionate, because it is the one day when you can sit back or go out there and say, we thank our head of state, we thank our God, we thank my parents, we thank my teachers, we thank all those good things the land has offered to you up till this point. So you say, we thank God for making me a Cameroonian. Because
welcome back, beautiful people. That was Professor Elvis Ngole painting the decor on what the National Day is supposed to symbolize, a day to think just fatherland. And that is what my guests and I are thinking right here. And we know you back there at home, you are equally thinking same. Doctor, your last word in reaction to Prof said, if I got something, that the day is just like a spirit. You just live it, you live the moment, you honor the flag, you thank God for being a Cameroonian. The last word as we round up on
this. When the right day is chosen. For now, yes, we can symbolically celebrate the occasion, the idea of being a free country, of a free people, and all of that. We can celebrate that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with respecting these Republican principles. But I would like to tell Evan Gole that we are still searching for the right day.
Okay.
This is not the day. Yeah.
This is not the day. Enjoy.
What I've heard from Professor Elvis Ngole is that we are really happy to celebrate the day.
Okay.
We are really happy to celebrate it, because if we are not happy, it means we have to go back again in history.
Okay.
That it means that we should just accept it like that and try to see what can we do now to solve the problem. Because we should not by just celebrating the day, eating and dancing. It would be something that we can mobilize all those funds that they are using to dance and make something symbolic. That tomorrow our children or those that are coming behind can see this 28th May they did this. It would be something of National Day of Work. People should be working. Everybody should go and mobilize self, work, do something that in history they will see that this man did this thing this day. It should not be something of drinking, dancing, going, doing such, because after this we find out so many negative things.
All right. Sir Rogers.
I will ask Professor Elvis Ngole that when he's talking next time about National Day, it's not that I'm trying to give him a lesson, but just a question. Maybe 2022, if we don't celebrate it, he should tell us where they keep the budget for the celebration of this day. There is a budget on that, but they always tell us it is a spirit. The spirit should be one side. But when it comes to the swindling and chopping, it is just with them. Side. Yes, the other side.
And it means you want to eat.
Of course, everybody should eat. We're all Cameroonians.
It is Cameroonian money. It is not my money. It is money from taxpayers. So
you come back to what I said.
They should tell the Cameroonian people where they are keeping the money.
But I want to believe that with COVID,
with the money. You understand?
They have not done that.
Yes, and I just want to round up briefly and say, he asked me a question, what are political parties doing? I want to tell you that Article 2 in the document for the legalization of political party at the level of Ministry of Territorial Administration state that political parties should help the government in creating in economic activities. And I think we are the first political party to own 9 cooperatives in Cameroon. You understand? We are launching a project of 500 hectares of cocoa. Now, coming to Doctor, I want to tell Doctor that you did not understand me. You got me wrong when I said Cameroonians don't know themselves. I'll just give you one example. I live in Yaoundé. I've been living in Yaoundé for 10 years now, but I cannot speak Ewondo. or a tone, neither can I
Because
speak
you're not in the
Bolo.
village.
Not an issue of village. What we are talking about is something that has to be in the school program. You go to Spain, if you travel to Spain, you discover that the 4 regions of Spain, or the 4 states of Spain, you understand, each region has its own language. Spanish is not the language of Catalan. In Catalan, they teach from primary school, they teach you Catalan.
Yes,
you
sir.
understand? That's something we should do. It is in our project.
learn
You
those
understand?
things.
We should
Who to
learn.
be blamed
Now,
Nobody.
briefly, doctor, if you want to marry, you want to get married to an Ewondo girl, you understand, the first thing you're going to do now as a man who wants to get married, you try to know the demands of their culture. You understand? You do an investigation. What do they ask, the kind of things they will need, and the kind of food, you understand, for you not to go there. Because when you get to a new family that is not your which is not in your own cultural department, you understand, why do you try to know them? Because once a family gets to know you, don't understand their culture, they might trick you that day, you understand. So briefly, Cameroonians should be courageous to know themselves, and Cameroonians should be courageous to listen to each other.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are swimming into the second topic for the day, which is the management of COVID-19 funds. Like we all know, it's no longer news that, how would I put it, there are ministers that are answering questions as to how COVID-19 funds are given to manage COVID-19 have been used, because we've got rumors that the money has been mismanaged somehow. We are here in the house with a panel struggling to evaluate on our own part. We know you back home are doing same. Doctor, you planted the decor for COVID-19. This scandal, it's true that it's not yet proven that the money has been siphoned or embezzled like it is a tradition in Cameroon. But just having ministers go through this, don't you think is scandalous enough and can scare even investors, can scare even people out of Cameroon that are willing to help us?
Yeah, Frida, let's look at the genesis of this process. Why are ministers going in front of the judiciary to answer questions? When we understand the genesis, and then we'll understand who is really responsible. I can tell you, Frida, without the pressure from the international community that handled this money to fight COVID, the government of Cameroon would have done nothing. I'm saying as someone in the CRM party, because when the same thing happened with the CAN, and the CAN is even at least 4 times the amount of the budget we are talking about here. When you look at the total money received for COVID-19, it's 250 billion with a B.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at the CAN situation, we are talking about 1,000 billion again with a B. That's more than 25% of our yearly budget, annual budget that was being spent. At least that's the minimum conservative estimate. And here we are in this situation that of opacity, of lack of clearness, and Cameroonians, like we do, like in the police, because somebody asked, what have I done? What have we done to fix Cameroon? Yes, let me tell you what we did, and not only me, there are a lot of them. We went and marched and asked for accountability, and some of us were arrested. And here in the COVID, we have been out there saying that they should give us a clear audit of how that money was spent. Because here there's a moral issue in this COVID situation specifically, because to be honest, COVID is a pandemic that has caused a lot of life, and I believe that Cameroonians were also victims in their numbers. I don't want to go into the details of how many have died, but we can look at it from a very conservative idea, what they are publishing out there, which is about 1,000. So here we have money that was supposed to make sure that Cameroonians are protected from this COVID by the international community, and Cameroon, we just ask, I'll congratulate Honorable Mr. Nicho, who raised the alarm in the first place and saying that this money is not being handled properly. And then later on, the international, I don't know that it's Human Rights Watch or Transparency International, identified Cameroon among 4 countries that have a very, how can I put it, a very opaque management, a dark management without transparency of the money. With all of that and the pressure from this international community, the government of Cameroon could not go and take more money. And that's why we have this process now of what looked like an audit. And so, if you look at it, we are not more at the level of speculation, because when you look at the report that was started circulating since yesterday, last night, on the Chamber of Commerce. When you look at that report, you would, I tell you, if you are somebody who loves this country, you would weep. Because let me tell you, Frida, when it comes to acquisition of individual protective material for the COVID, this is like mask, all those uniform. We had a total amount of 2.9 billion that was budgeted. This is the report of the Chambers of Commerce. 2.9 billion that was budgeted, and so far the government has, the ministry, at the Ministry of Health and other elements of government, has spent 23.8 billion. Billion with a B. So we budget 2.9 billion and they spent 23.9 billion. So they have spent an excess of 20 billion beyond the budget.
Where is it?
But feel that it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Where's the community? They are indebting us now for that. It doesn't end there. What is even puzzling about this is that how they selected the award of contracts. In one example, to give barrier measures, among 3 companies that were handed the contract, there's one company called Madeleine Medical Company, and they are Cameroonian companies, which looks, on the surface, it looks good. Except that when the Chambers of Commerce went into the record of that company, they saw that that company has an account that was created 3 years ago and has never been active. The only activity started with this COVID activity.
Front.
And then they also found what we call conflict of interest. That is one of the board, the members of the board that is handling this contract has a direct link and relationship with the owner of this frivolous company. And then, so that alone is already a serious situation. And then one of the spending line, this company won more than, I think, 25 billion to provide some medical supplies. 25 billion, which was 94% of the budget allotted for that. But what is puzzling in this whole thing is that, for example, when it comes to COVID kits, the test kit, there's a program that the World Bank had put in place that will make sure that this were available for nations for 2,000 francs CFA in francs CFA, right? This company is charging 17,000 francs CFA per kit. Knowing that this company was selected by a group of people who are part of the commission, and that this company is like a previous company, they don't even act in this kind of domain, and now they are charging almost 10 times the amount that was needed for COVID. I can tell you that this whole management of COVID-19 is a scam. And then when you look at it and you keep going, at the end of the day, the money is finished, the job has not been completed. I can give you the example of hotels in Douala that are still owed 150 million, and the ones in those hotels that were handling the sick patients. So how do we take 250 billion and we completely squander it without doing what we have to do? And then you wonder why CRM was marching in 2019 to ask for accountability on the management of $1,000 billion in COVID years. And the government refused. The government refused to act on that. They actually arrested us. In other words, if not of the international community, nobody will hold these people accountable. With all of this, Frida, with all what we have heard, and with all what I report, I'm in the 5th page of this report. If you go back to the report, is a 23-page report, and all of those pages are incriminating individuals of this government, people that the government is protecting. With all of this, can any Cameroonian tell us why Mr. Biya should remain president of this country? With the level of embezzlement, with the level of manipulation, you cannot run a country on a fraud, on a system that is out to defraud Cameroonians and steal from our public fund. In a country where children don't sit in classrooms, you go to the north, children sit in places which are whether you call them schools or what, in bamboos. And yet we have a president of the republic who is arresting people who are marching for this. Frida, I can tell you, I stand here to talk, I support Ben Aki of English Cameroon for United Cameroon, who has made a lot of argument that all our energy should be used to ask Mr. Biya to take his resignation. Because honestly, what we are seeing with this COVID fund, if we continue and go into the African Nations Cup fund that he is preventing us from knowing the truth about, if we go into that fund, I can tell you that the level of abuse and mismanagement of the funds in this country, the president of this country cannot protect those people. And if he's not ready to govern, he should step down and let Cameroon follow our constitution and elect a new president.
All right, Njoya, when you see, you've heard statistics from the doctor, and you also know that there is scandal going on. Do you think the government or the people in place are still trustworthy?
I trust as well my government and justice. I cannot judge someone before time. I give you time to do something and I will judge you better after. You cannot talk of mismanagement of COVID before the time the thing is in the process. We Cameroon have talked. The government have put in place a commission to study that. We should give them time that they should study. We should not keep by saying that the Minister of Health have been basing for this. No, we should not. We should not by saying so. We should not be saying. We should not. I will not credit.
Now it's still a scandal. We've not said they have been basing.
Yes.
Yet are this kind of scandals good for a country like ours?
No, we should not say that it's a scandal because it is a process that we are still observing.
It's not a scandal.
Yes.
It's not a scandal.
It's scandal how? It cannot be because it is a process that is going to have COVID in it. Not yet. COVID is still existing now. We should give them time.
All right.
So that time will tell us how they have managed the fund.
Okay.
Because if we are by saying that they have misused the fund, maybe mentioning already the name of Minister of the Health or all those that are mentioning their name or the government, it means that we don't trust our government. As we don't trust our government, we don't trust our government. I still will still ask the same question. What have we done?
That's
also?
why they are holding them accountable.
Because even the Cmer that they are maybe saying that the government have misused, they also collected people fund also or they ask that population to fund money also.
It's not CRM
and
that asks government to.
No, I'm talking concerning the Mr. Doctor in front of me, his party, and I'm talking now that if their parties maybe going behind the government at any time trying to see how clear the government is, what have also they in their party doing?
That's debate for another day. Civic Cameroon.
Because they also respond also. Have they also tell us how they have managed the fund? No. We are still giving them also time. Time will tell us. As we are giving the government time, time will tell us.
Time will tell them. Mr. Godfrey will recruit you very soon. Roger, are these kind of scandals good? Because I still see it as a scandal. For instance, if you say President Paul Biya is accused of this today and tomorrow he's answering questions, it's first a scandal. Even if it's proven not guilty later on, it's a scandal. I see that way. They have not been proven guilty, but they are in the process. They are still asking questions, which I don't think is a good thing for us. Roger, how do you look at this?
I will start by asking Mr. Njoya just one question.
Yes, go on.
Do you trust the government?
I trust the government.
I don't trust the government.
If I don't trust
so
the
don't
government,
force
it
your
means
own.
I should out of the government. I should out of myself in this country.
Okay,
if I'm living in this country, it means I trust the government.
You have answered my question. Let me continue. I don't trust the government and don't force your opinion on me.
That's it. I will not force my opinion.
Are you sure you're not the central committee member of the CPTN?
I will still tell you something. No. You mentioned something that we should be a relativist. We should accept the ideology of anybody. We should not center our ideology on someone. You see, because if I said this, that the government have done this, I should be blamed.
Okay.
I should blame myself. I should be blamed. What have I done
now,
also? Like a citizen.
Okay. I want to make my points clear. The auditing, it's a scandal, a very big scandal. Whether Mr. Njoya likes it or not, it's a very big scandal, and we should equally understand that the government is not doing the auditing because they love it. Now,
Mr. I will interrupt you a bit, please. Because if you are saying it's a scandal, I've mentioned this in French. La bouche qui mange ne parle pas. You people are struggling now because you have not yet been there. When you will be there, please. I will ask you a question.
Yes.
When you will be there.
Wait till then.
We didn't need to be in power to buy an engine boat to the people of Macaque that cost 5 million francs, which we have been begging the Minister of Public Work to help so that the ferry that's bad there after the loss of the life of 2 women, we didn't need to go into the government to give 500 benches in a school in North. We didn't need to go into the government to distribute COVID materials out there. Yes. We speak what we do and we do what we say. Now come back to this. I will insist the COVID issue is a scandal. Look at the statistic doctor was giving. When he was giving, I was noting down something. But I just want to tell doctor, your statistics are good, but you were giving them like you were surprised.
Okay, it was not supposed to be surprised.
You are not supposed to be surprised. That's what I want to say. You are not supposed to be surprised because in this same country we bought a bag of cement for 17,000 francs. You talk about the can issue. Yes, we in this same country we've bought a truck of gravel for 700,000
Mr.
francs.
Fonkwe, if you are saying so, because we don't trust nationalists.
When you were talking, I was listening. I said that we should be courageous enough to listen to ourselves.
Thank you.
My point might hurt you, but you see, in this same country, when you were giving those, I was just laughing. I said, Doctor is surprised. A kilometer of road in this same country is 7 billion. Yaoundé Douala, 1 kilometer of same quality of road, international standard, is being produced for 2 billion francs. That's about $4 million if we have to go by but we are producing for $14 million. That's if we have to go by $1 is 500 francs. You understand? That's nothing should surprise us in Cameroon. See, with the regime of President Biya, I'm not surprised. They have gone to a situation that I even pity them. To an extent, I pity them. Not the pity of that kind of, maybe you see somebody in a sad situation and you're crying. I pity them because when you look at, I pity them with a kind of mockery. They are frustrated to the extent that, you see, Doctor, we should not be dreaming of the regime to resign. They will never resign. It is at the level of the Cameroonians to understand the COVID fund is an opportunity for us to take power back in our hands. The president is our employee. We pay the president. The president works for us. All those ministers who are tossing or raising their shoulders, they work for us. You understand? If we decide that we are going to terminate their contract, we will terminate the contract when we want. And like I was trying to say, they are not doing the auditing because they want super transparency. It is because they are negotiating another loan, and the International Monetary Fund, they've said to them that you have to tell us the 100 and chloroquine. They promise us producing 10,000 chloroquines a day. Our minister was so talented in telling us we have to consume fibang grass. I'm using her pronunciation in quote. She was so talented, Madeleine 20. She said, "If we consume fibang grass." You see, when it comes to things like that, they joke with health. People were crying the other day at the airport that the kids are finished at the airport. The COVID kids are finished at the airport. But look at the money Doctor was just calling here. And somebody might sit at home and think, is what Doctor is saying, is it really true? It is true. It is true.
They have not yet proved that it's true.
It is a fact. Doctor was not telling you about money embezzle. He was telling you about estimated budget. And this was a report. He was giving a report from the chambers of commerce. Doctor was giving an official report from the same government you are defending.
I'm not defending the government.
Okay.
You are free to defend the government because you are part of the government.
See,
it's your right.
Now, when we talk, okay, let me round up. When we talk about COVID funding, people mostly talk about the 180 billion. Doctor mentioned about 200, and there is what the African Development Bank gave. There is what the African Development Bank gave. You understand? But we are mostly tied around the 180 billion because we are negotiating another loan. So those people who gave us the 180 billion, they are telling us, bring us, we want to be clear with what you've done with the... Okay, now, what about the Solidarity Fund the president raised? That money has been invisible. Nobody talks about the money.
They are not maybe searching where the money.
Okay. So you have to search for money.
How they have used the money?
This guy is awesome.
I'm sorry. It is a process that they are looking
briefly. Briefly. COVID is an opportunity for Cameroonians to understand that the Biya regime, their back is at the wall the wall. They don't have anything to offer. They will go like this for the more 4 years because his mandate ends in 2025. In Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, we are seriously working to replace this regime. We need a proactive regime. Olembe is just few meters away from A to D. But since they started the construction, a president that they feel is going to carry his name, started Paul Biya, has never been there. Right up to now. The truth is, Cameroonians listening to us right now, wake up, assume your responsibilities. Registration to the electoral list is currently going on. Massive registration, massive voting, and massive supervision of vote is the solution to our problems in Cameroon. If you go and vote, you don't supervise your vote, the CPDM will steal, and they are going to put another person. They will replace beer with another beer. It must not necessarily be Frank beer. Even if it's Frank beer, to me it's a good thing, because the movement of Frankies to us shows that even the children, the son of Mr. Beer said, my father has failed and it's time for me to take power. And the other side of it, Frank Beer is equally telling us it's time for us to give the power to youth. So the movement of Frankies is a good thing. And we of the Cameroonian Party for National Reconciliation, we are seriously preparing for the Third Republic, and it is time for all the Cameroonians to join us and let's build our country.
I want to read messages
together.
My audience will beat me if I don't. Okay, we have messages. WhatsApp chat. This one says, "Good afternoon. My name is Joycelyn. I'm writing from Montéjovance. I want to tell the young one that says there's no problem in the Anglophone region, that they should go back and read his history."
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Greetings to you people. I am Thomas, writing from Bonamusa. Doctor, I want to say that just like your co-panelist is saying, you are not supposed to be surprised. What did I touch? Okay. You are not supposed to be surprised about the statistics. That is Cameroon for us. We really need a change. Frida, in your household, good afternoon. I am writing from Tam Tam. I want to say that the 20th of May is not the day for the national unity. I go with the doctor. We need to go back and draft another day that will suit all of us. Good afternoon. I am Paul Rita. I'm writing from Montéjovance. I want to say that the whole idea of national unity is a fact that has never worked for Anglophone Cameroon. Okay. I greet you people in the house, the young man in the house. I don't know if he's defending the CPDM, but I want to tell him to go and check his facts correct. He did not sign his name.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Frida and your people. I enjoy the people you have on set today, especially the Cameroon big guys. Making us proud.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Frida and your panel. I want to say that I'm enjoying the discussions. But the guy who is supporting the CPDM is just one of the CPDM.
I'm not supporting CPDM. I'm not supporting CPDM, please. Hey.
Frida, good afternoon. I salute your effort for taking our time to work today. They take the public holiday. You guys are doing it big. Courage to people in the house. We pray God help Cameroon from all these nightmares. And then sign. Greetings, I'm Lolita, writing from a corner in Yaoundé. I want to say that the young man refusing that the COVID-19 fall management is not a scandal should go and verify a dictionary. It is a scandal and it's a disgrace to Cameroon. Okay, hold on. I greet you people in the house. I want to say that there is no doubt this government, like the others, is just a bunch of thieves that are going to sink Cameroon into the ocean. And then sign. Okay, I think the messages are coming. This one says, I greet you, Frida, your panel. It has been a wonderful afternoon in your company. Courage. All right. Thank you guys for your reactions. Doctor, I will start with you. It's a scandal, like we know. They are so passing to answer questions. I want to ask if, let's presume, though my man will surely refuse, I should not presume that these people were all guilty. What should we do? Recover the money or sack them all? Or who should we blame? Or should send them to the, is it on them ratio? Yes, the others.
Yeah, Frida, the important thing is that justice should be done. Yeah. Right? We should know exactly how the money has been spent. And the truth is that, Frida, at some point we have to ask ourselves, how long shall we continue to let people steal our money and then bring them to justice? isn't the leadership the problem, because it is very easy to establish. And I really want to challenge the idea, because I think my co-panelist, Mr. Nigeria, kept saying that those who are there are eating, the next group will eat. Honestly, if that's the education we have about how a nation should be run, know that is wrong. I can tell you that there are places, we are not the first in the world. Cameroon is not the first country in the world where a reformist system has come in place and improved the situation of corruption and transparency and made a bigger nation. So the whole idea that we cannot change those who are there because everybody goes there to eat and come, that the new people in Cameroon.
Right, Joya, how do you think we can curb this kind of happenings? How do you think we can fight this? Because our country is reputed for embezzlement and corruption. We cannot deny that. How can we fight this effectively? Because it seems even Conan does not frighten people.
No, according to me, the problem is that once they want to appoint someone in this government, they should go through his background, his know-how. Before appointing someone, they should know what the man have already done before. Because there are many appointments in the country that they will show you because you are the brother of this person, or you are in the family of this person, they will appoint you. Without knowing your capability, what you are able to do. Once you step there, as you know nothing, they will now direct you how you will function. You will have nothing to do. Because the post they give to you, you were not able to run it. It means, if it is to me, if we have to solve this problem, meritocracy should be something we should value. Someone that merit to give him that chance to govern people. Because if today you see young Cameroonians, they are telling us that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and they are not even giving us chance to speak, it means they are lying us. Today you see, we go in for a concours, you will be unable. You see someone will allow his certificate and try the concours with first school, you'll be unable to even to merit. It means we should not, maybe at a certain extent, we don't credit them. But it is not fair. We have to do something. They should give chance to those that merit.
Right.
And what I have to say is that we should not judge people before time. We should always give time to someone.
Right.
Because we have already given them time. It is now a process. They are starting to know how they have spent the money. And the solution should not just be that they should take them to prison. No. They should collect the money back, first of all, because it's the money of Cameroonians. Not even sacking them. You can collect the money, because even taking someone to prison to me is not the solution of a problem. Because you see someone that goes to prison because he embezzled money, he will go there outside, he will still go out with revengefulness. Because they would have made something that in such a way that once you are in prison, you are learning something.